Hello, everyone. Welcome to Real Estate with Ryan. So excited to be with you in the studios talking real estate. October is officially in the books. It's over. November is right around the corner. It's here, and the presidential election is within days. So how does that affect the real estate market? We're going to talk about that and so much more. I always figured that, we're days out. A lot of pent-up demand on presidential elections. The real estate market is all over the place. It's been a wild 2024. And so what do we expect going into 2025? How much has the presidential election affected East Tennessee and the housing market? So we're going to talk about that. So much more real estate news. And so excited to be with you guys on a Saturday. Big day. UT down in Neyland, playing Kentucky at 7:30. So big game. Hope to see everybody there and support the Vols on a big win. Let's see, what else? If you're tuning in for the first time, really appreciate you guys. You can always catch us at News Talk 98.7 at 1 o'clock or Talk Radio 92.3 FM at 11 a.m. Streaming all live, social channels, Facebook, X, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you name it. We're all on social media. You can catch us on iTunes, Spotify, or Google. All right. So let's go. Before we get started, always got some new congrats, new listings, new activity that's going on. I got some new listings that are coming. Haven't signed yet, so won't release those yet. But we do have some new pendings. Congrats. A new lot that we sold over on Green Hill Road for a great builder friend of ours. Congrats, over in Dandridge. Luxury listing, 8 days on the market in Kodak. 2742 River Island Boulevard. It was on the water. We had a little bit of delay with the flooding and everything like that on the French Broad River. Water was still a little bit murky there, but we were able to find a great buyer, record time, excess over $1 million. Congrats to our sellers there. 4717 Ridgecrest Road, Luttrell. Congrats to going under contract. 2107 Arnold Avenue in Morristown. Congrats. 216 Peterson Road in Knoxville, Farragut. Congrats. And then 625 Tater Valley Road just closed. Congrats to those sellers. That was a little bit of an issue with some title and surveys, but glad we could get it closed for everybody. And that's our congrats for the day. So a lot of things going on. 2 more months, and then 24 will be in the books. As you didn't know, just in case you didn't know, there's a political election going on, and it is one of the most sought-after elections in a while. Every 4 years we have a presidential elections. And a lot of people say, well, how does it affect the housing market? How has it affected this housing market? So we're going to talk about that and kind of dive into that. And what are you thinking, the housing market as a whole? Before we kind of start talking about that, let's talk about interest rates. Kind of where is the market now presently as we go into November? Is that hard to believe, guys? November. I know I was thinking about November. I said, how is, we just did Halloween. And I told you October is a busy month for us. October is where not only my wife's birthday, but my daughter's birthday. And so it's been that kind of year, and I know you guys can appreciate that. But actually, the mortgage rates were, by the Feds made an adjustment, and they made that adjustment, and everybody thought the market would finally, it was overdue, did 50 basis points. And so that 50 basis points was supposed to really energize the market. And we have seen a pickup, as you could tell. We had several pendings and things going on. But the market as a whole is still soft. Mortgage rates the other day actually increased when we've been talking about that. Mortgage rates, again, are on the rise. They hit the 7% mark this week, according to a new report, rising the highest level since the beginning of the summer, despite the Federal Reserve cutting the key interest rates a half point in September. It was the first and the biggest rate cut since 2020 in March. It represented a dramatic shift for home buyers after years of high mortgage rates, especially in this central bank signaled that it would probably follow with more price adjustments. And yet, the daily average mortgage rates have climbed nearly a whole percentage point in the past 6 weeks, further harming home buyers and housing affordability, which is a key issue coming up in the election. Just to give you an example, that a home buyer that has a $3,000 monthly budget has lost almost $33,000 in home buying power. Mortgage rates are influenced by the 10-year bond. September yield has risen from 3.68 to 4.33% today. Mortgage rates have risen with the higher bond yields. Bond yields are higher at a great part due to ongoing strength of the economy, which has been seen with the strong job creation and consumer spending. So the election has also added volatility to the market, as they discuss a little bit further into the sample. What they're saying is a little bit of an intake here is that investors are taking that Trump at his word and believes that if he wins, it will lead to higher tariffs, immigrant deportations, finance tax cuts, and full employment economy, all which means higher inflation and more government borrowing. The recent surge in the mortgage rates is a clear indication of what investors believe Trump victory would mean for the economy and the nation's physical outlook. So that's what they're saying. Not really sure. Who knows why they're raising, but that's where we're at. With certain swing states in the election. We're talking about Arizona. Just to give an example, in September, the realistic budget for Arizona median price is about $442,000 with a 7% mortgage rate. It's about $3,000 a month, and they've lost about average $475. So you can see that's affecting everybody. Affordability is key. But what is really affecting the mortgage rates? I'm not sure. We talked to several shows ago about the nation's debt, how we keep spending and printing money, and how that's a big factor, and that some of the interest rates may have to be raised just to pay the debt, pay the bills per se. But in the presidential elections, we know this. It happens a 4-year. And one of the biggest things, if you're buying or selling in today's economy, is to always, it's timing. Real estate's always going to be timing, right? You buy the right time, you get the right deal. Do something wrong time, maybe not. But also it comes down to consumer choice, right? Why are we moving? Why are we doing? What are we doing what we're doing? One of the biggest questions we ask buyers and sellers all the time is, why are we moving? Are we getting a job transfer? Are we downsizing? Are we moving close to family and relatives? So sometimes the market comes into play, and if you could line it up perfectly, it works. But sometimes it just can't. It doesn't happen. We got a great job transfer. We have to be there by a certain time. We have so many transfers that come in at the end of the year, and it's because other jobs and bosses have requirements. You got to be here for start of the year, calendar year in January. And so there's certain requirements where, regardless of the interest rates or what's going on, or if we're in a presidential election, people have to move. There's a normal in and flow of the market, as I would say. Buyers and sellers are going to buy and sell homes all the time. The question is, are they going to do it where the interest rates are a little higher, or are they going to be a little lower, or where the economy is? And I think what we're seeing in the marketplace now is, how does the elections affect the economy? One of the biggest things is consumer confidence, right? You go into consumer confidence, and I have a great client of ours. We've got one of his larger houses listed. He installs pools and custom pools. And he said just kind of the sentiment for the market is even people with a lot of money are kind of waiting to kind of see what goes on with the election. Is that it on the big ticket items? And that's kind of what we're seeing. But just rest assured, we only have a couple more days to kind of see where that's at. So I think a lot of the market that we've seen in the last 30 days, if that's any indication of early voting and different things like that, you're seeing that a lot of people are eyed on the election. There's a lot of news focusing on that. So a lot of people are wondering which way they're going to go. But a presidential election is obviously something that's very, very important. And obviously you're curious about it. Maybe you're not buying now, but you may be buying here soon. Historically, presidential elections have had a small temporary impact in the housing market, typically, but they've not faced the inflation and certain policies and things that we're dealing with. So I think in this year, at least what we're seeing it has a little bit more impact. Usually home sales are unsurged and unchanged during an election year, but the exception being in November, an election year, is slower than normal. Maybe you're seeing that. Maybe those numbers that came out just recently in September sales, if you watch some of those, they were lower than normal. All right. That's mostly because some people feel uncertain and hesitant about making big decisions during a pivotal time. However, it's important to know that this slowdown is temporary, and historically, home sales have charged back in December and continue the following year. I think that's so key. Home sales went up 9 out of the 11 presidential elections after it's over. So what does that look for 2025? How does that look? So we're within days of the election. We'll know who gets in, who doesn't get in. And so a lot of the information in the marketplace will have that decision. What is that going to lead to 2025? Look, we're coming on a break here in just a few minutes. We'll talk more about presidential election and how is it affecting East Tennessee housing market. We'll be right back.
Success always comes down to the details. It takes repetition, hard work, and a defined strategy to be elite. Real estate is no different. It takes preparation and a solid game plan to achieve the best results. On the field, I can cover some real estate. Off the field, look to Ryan Coleman and the team at Hometown Realty. They're Tennessee's agent.
Thanks, Brew. Go Big Orange.
Hometown Realty is East Tennessee's #1 real estate group and a proud sponsor of the Vols.
I'm Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty. The real estate market's changing every day. You need to know your home's value in today's market. Text your home address to 290-2290 for an instant, no obligation home evaluation. That's 865-290-2290. And remember, when you're ready to sell, we have a guaranteed sale program to get you in your next home stress-free. Trust your hometown experts. We've helped thousands of people just like you. All right, we're back at it, Real Estate with Ryan, second half. Thank you for tuning back in. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Ryan Coleman, Hometown Realty. We do this little show called Real Estate with Ryan. We usually don't talk no politics or anything like that today, but we're talking about how presidential elections affect the housing market. We're days away from a new presidential election. Who will be in? Who knows? How will it affect the economy? We don't know either. But we know interest rates are up a little bit, and they exceeded 7% this year. Now they're back down this week, and they're down about 6.71, 30-year fixed. So how is that going to affect the housing market? And are people waiting? Are a lot of people waiting before making a decision? So talk about that and so much on the second half. Before I get going, we're going to go our 60-second vol update. Get that out the way. 60-second vol update. Drum roll, please. All right, big things happening on a Saturday. It's dark mode. I've got my official dark mode jersey on, ready to go. Game ready tonight, 7:30. Kentucky, Neyland. It's going to be epic. I think I saw Kiss is going to be performing at halftime. It's going to be one to see. It's going to be a great game. Rooting for the Vols and a big win. Ranked number 7 in the country. Playoff chances are right around the corner, guys. It's going to be big. It's going to be exciting into the season. Hope everybody's watching. I know you'll be there. Thanks to all of our winners that we've sent to the game, courtesy of Hometown Realty. We appreciate you guys so much. Hope to see your lovely pictures. Hope you guys have an amazing time. And don't forget, we got homecoming next week, Mississippi State, November 9th. Go support our seniors. Big time there. And our men's basketball game back in action. It's hard to believe that basketball's back. Men's basketball team will be playing Gardner-Webb November 4th, Thompson Bowling Arena. Guess what? Like and share our page. We're going to send you there as well. Also, Lady Vols, Samford Bulldogs, November 5th, 6:30. Watch our page. We're going to have posts out for basketball later on today. We're going to send you. Enjoy the game, courtesy of Hometown Realty. That's what we got a lot. Hey, watch the Vols. Have a great night tonight. All that courtesy of Hometown Realty, proud sponsor of the Vols. Go Big Orange. So much going on. Our team works extremely hard during the last quarter of the year. There's a lot going on. It's fall season. I already talked about it. I know personally, I've got my beautiful ladies' birthdays and a lot going on. And before you know it, you throw in Halloween and, you got all the end of the year things that we're doing. And then did I mention that we've got football going on and men's program's amazing. Then we got basketball and women's basketball, Lady Vols. And so there's a lot going on. We do a lot. We stay busy. And I appreciate seeing you guys joining our page, liking our page. Look, it doesn't cost anything to go to the game. We just like to have that experience. One of the things we really enjoy about it is when I first came here was having that chance to go to a game in Neyland Stadium. Obviously, the news has kind of shed light on it after that big win on Alabama. But if you've never been to a game, maybe couldn't afford to go, couldn't go, combination of reasons, we're here to send it to you. One of the biggest reasons I relocated to this state, I went to a game in Neyland. I mean, I saw all the people, just great environment, and it was a different environment for me, and it stuck with me from a little kid to present. And so we it's a little thing we do, like to send you to the game, doesn't cost anything, and hope you have a good time. And that's what East Tennessee's about. I mean, I think if you look at the economy, you say, what does football, Ryan, have to do with real estate? Well, I mean, football or the athletic program has a lot to do with our economy in East Tennessee. I think the Chancellor we mentioned before, the last Alabama game, we were 60,000 applications after that win. How does that trickle down to our economy in the real estate market? I mean, restaurants, businesses, relocations. I can't tell you the amount of housing that we're looking for, helping people with, for the kids in graduate degrees or going to school. I've got people relocating here, grandparents, close to the grandbabies. They're going to school. They want to be closer. So it is a big effect on our economy. And so it's always good to be on the program. We're doing amazing things. I was listening to baseball coach Tony the other day, and it's a culture of what we have. And it's a culture of what's going on in the program. Everybody's buying in. Everybody's helpful. It's a great group. Danny White's done an amazing job over there, and it's trickled out through the community. Vol Nation is like none other. So if you're new to the area, you're coming in, I always tell my clients that you get familiar with orange. And if you don't have something orange, there's always an opportunity here soon. And go to a game. Go to a game. That's a big deal. I'll jump back on the show. I don't want to get too talking about the Vols, but it does affect the real estate market and everything that's going on. So we talked about it in the first half. Once this election's over, Ryan, we're hearing a lot of, we're just going to wait to see what's going on in the election. But don't wait, because the housing market changes on a dime. Home sales have went up after 9 out of the last 11 presidential election. The graph you can't see right here went all the way back to 1978 with a presidential election noted. Year immediately after the election went green. That means sales have rose. 2 orange bars represent only years where the home sales decreased after election. What about home prices? Well, home prices have went up after 7 out of the last 8 presidential elections. Just like the previous graph, the home shows the show's elections were in the blue. Only 1 year was down after typical. So same thing with mortgage rates, typically. What does that affect on the housing market? So what is that telling us, guys? Ryan, get to the point. I looked at some of the interest rates, and just to kind of give you where the mortgage rates are changing. So you say, Ryan, rates are going up. How is that going to affect the housing market? I mean, everything's expensive now as it is, and inflation is real. The average price, I talked about Arizona, you lose $30,000 in buying power by the interest rates going up. But it doesn't seem like home prices are decreasing dramatically. And with interest rates changing, going back to, say 2020, rates went from 3.02 to 2.77. It's a quarter of a point basis point. In 2008, 6.43 to 6.09. Say 1996, 8.25 to 7.62. So we're seeing that the rates are raising, but are we going to have an adjustment? I think so, if history proves us right. But really, truthfully, who knows? I get tired of trying to predict what's going on. But that's what we've known in the past, right? If history is any outlier there. Historically, the housing market doesn't tend to look very different in a presidential election. But this year is like none we've ever talked about. So in a recent study, analyzed 13 presidential elections, went back to the 1980s. Myers Research, a housing consulting firm, found out that home sales drop in median sale activity of 15% from October to November when the nation chooses its president. And then you look at some of the sales that have been on the news and what's going on, you can kind of see that. You can kind of feel that. I know we're having slower than normal October and September, right? We're busy, but not as busy as we usually are. And so when the nation chooses its president, in the year following the election, the traditional seasonal decline of sales, the new construction abodes is only 8%. leading to a nearly 13% weaker market in September. I think we've seen those. Those numbers have come out in September. Even though the election is a federal level, the local market is obviously affected, right? Most markets rebound quickly, if not instantaneous, on pent-up demand of who's going to get into the Oval Office. I've got a graph here that shows a little bit about the election, and it shows almost a 5.8 in November increase in sales, then a December of 6.2%. I think of this year, probably more than anything else, the winner or the loser has a lot involved in the economy. There's a lot of things on the plate. If you're thinking about buying this year or selling, what should you do? I think the equation of who gets in office or not will be settled in a couple of days. What we do know is that inventory, we talked about last show, is at a 4.3 month supply. Still relatively low. And if you have buying power now, interest rates are a little bit higher, but expect those to ease some as we ease into 2025. But if you're selling, is a perfect opportunity. There's still less competition on the market. Market prices are reflected now a little bit different than it was a year or two ago. So pricing your home is important. Getting with the right agent to help you market that home, not only here locally, but out of state, and kind of walk you through the finish line is so important. That's why we do this show all the time. Hope you find it valuable and hope you see we can help you. If you're thinking about your home's value, you need to know exactly what your home is worth. We make it easy. Just go to our website, visit us at ryancoleman.org. All you got to do there is type in your home value. We'll give you instant value of what your house is worth, even if you're not ready to talk to an agent. Be a good starting point. And, of course, if you need anything at all, we're always here for you, helping. We've got a great, helpful buyer tool app on the bottom of our website that you can download as well. Guys, I've enjoyed spending time with you. Hope you have a good time at the game tonight. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe out there. We look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great weekend.